Good afternoon and welcome to KISS TV's Election News Update. My name is Kimachia. Coming up in this bulletin, we look at the numbers. The presidential vote tally continues to rise. We have Raila Odinga ahead with the 6,080,728 votes, representing about 50.57% of total votes cast. We also have Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate William Ruto coming in with 5,861,718, which is translating to about 48.75% of the total votes cast. George Wajackoyah comes in third with 53,683 votes, translating to 0.45% of the votes. And finally, we have David Moore, who is trailing with 28,376 votes, accounting for about 0.24%. Also in this bulletin, we have EAC observers who have given their verdict on how the election has been carried out. They've said it's been done smoothly and that the will of the people will be established. And finally, of course, IEBC has begun verification of physical Form 34As. Remember, these are the forms that will then enable them to have the final tally for the presidential vote and to know who will become the president, the fifth president of the Republic of Kenya. Of course, I'll be joined shortly by our political analyst, Felix Olick. He will help us understand the numbers, where we're going, what happened. Do stay tuned to KISS TV's Election News Update in a short while. Indeed, thank you for joining us. We have live scenes from the Bomas of Kenya, where, of course, is the National Tallying Center. But I'm joined on this table by a political analyst, and his name is Felix Olick. And we want to analyze, what does this election hold for us? What is happening? And to make sense of what we have. Welcome, Felix.
Thank you very much, Susan, for having me.
All right. So first off, the tallies that we have so far, we have, the Azimio candidate at 50.57% of the votes. We have, of course, Kenya Kwanza second at 48.75%. What do you make of this? And what should we then analyze or see as the way forward from this?
I think, Susan, as the results are showing, this election is going to be very close. I think the closest in post-independence Kenya. The margin will be razor thin between the winner and the loser, and it will be a very sweet victory for the winner, but a devastating loss for the loser, because all of them are staring at State House.
So what happens? As you have said, the margins are really small. How much of a margin do you really require to actually then get into State House?
Of course, for you to win a presidential contest and be declared by IEBC, you must get 50% plus one vote.
Analyze that a little. When you say 50% plus one, because then people translate that to 51%. What does 50% plus one mean?
I think what it means is that the moment you cross the 50% margin, you only need a single vote, and you'll have met the constitutional threshold to be declared winner. But I think it's also important to note that at this stage, a runoff is also within sight, and I think all the contenders are holding their breath that they will be able to cross that magic 50% plus one. But I just to interject,
yes.
I think the only thing I need to say at this stage is that while the country is holding its breath and waiting for the presidential results to be declared, I think many hours after IEBC began counting and declaration of results at the polling stations, it's very clear to me that the government and the National Intelligence Service knows the direction that the country is taking.
So we have projected some numbers on the screen, of course, and it's the 6,080,000 for one candidate and another 5,860,000 for the other. But we cannot speak about this election and not talk about the Mount Kenya region and what it has done or not done for either of the candidates. What are your thoughts?
That's a very interesting question, Susan. I think as Professor Kagwanja has summarized it for me, that this was not just a loss for Jubilee, it was actually a massacre, you know. So this has really damaged President Uhuru Kenyatta, and I think it has given William Ruto a really a big lead because of the numbers in that region.
Does one recover? How then do you govern? If indeed it sways to the Azimio coalition and you enter the House and the numbers in the Assembly and in the Senate are as they are projected now, how then do you govern?
Well, at this stage it will be difficult to tell who between William Ruto and Raila Odinga will have the majority in the bicameral parliament. That counting is still ongoing. But we saw, I mean, it becomes very difficult to govern when you don't have the majority.
So what do they do? I know there are no permanent friends or enemies in politics. So if you got into the House under the Kenya Kwanza coalition, are you then free to make, you know, deals? Because there are phrases going around, you know, we've worked together in the past, we can work together going forward. How do they handle this?
I think the power of the executive cannot be overemphasized. I mean, the moment somebody is declared president, we know it's possible that they will have to do a deal, but the power of the executive cannot be downplayed. I think the moment somebody is declared, they will always find room on how to deal with parliament.
Any other significant region you feel has impacted this election to sway either way?
I think Coast is very interesting because Coast has traditionally been a Raila Odinga political bastion. But if you look at a place like Mombasa, there are polling stations where William Ruto is having a comfortable lead. Interestingly, if you go to a place like Kilifi, and with the outgoing governor, Amason Kingi, backing Ruto, Raila is having a clean sweep. So some of these things are very interesting to watch, because in Mombasa, where Ruto seems to be doing very well, that is where we have Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho.
Yeah. All right. Ultimately, we would want to know, Kenyans have been looking at screens, looking on social media, you know, and they want to know when can they expect the final tally. What's that process going to take for us to get to know who the fifth president of this republic will be?
You know, constitutionally, IEBC has 7 days to declare the winner of the presidential election. But I think pressure is beginning to mount on Chebukati, because the forms from the polling stations and at the constituency have now been uploaded onto the IEBC portal. And so the worst thing that is happening in now is that both sides of the political divide have begun to claim victory. This is not good for the country and is bringing a lot of pressure and tension. So I think it behooves the IEBC that the country may not be able to take it anymore, and they must quicken the process.
He had mentioned tomorrow in his previous briefing, and of course we have just seen live pictures of what's happening at the Bomas of Kenya. Right now we are seeing, you know, different persons who are in charge in the different coalitions at the Bomas of Kenya. Would you mind explaining to us what it is that they're doing there, so that we understand, you know, that movement that we are seeing?
You know, what is happening at the Bomas of Kenya? Of course, the Forms 34 A's, which are the results of the polling station, had been sent to the portal. But then these results are also taken to the constituency, where the IEBC bosses at the constituency will then tally and have another form called Form 34Bs. Now, these Form 34Bs are then delivered physically to the National Tallying Center at Bomas of Kenya. So what is happening at Bomas of Kenya is that IEBC, the chairman and his team, have to verify that the tallying that happened at the constituency level was actually accurate, so that when they eventually announce the results, then these are accurate results. So this is a very tedious process. Whether Chebukati and his team will be able to manage by tomorrow remains to be seen.
Any final words on this election and this tallying process that we have witnessed?
I think Kenyans should take it easy. Eventually, Kenyans will get the leaders that they deserve.
Thank you indeed for joining us, Felix. That was Felix Olick. He was a political analyst for this bulletin. Thank you. Keep it KISS TV. We have election updates as and when they happen. My name is Kimachia.